I found a small, quiet room, a bit farther away from everyone in the program, so I could record these short interviews. The need for a very quiet space to record has forced me to periodically withdraw from the general program and its rhythm. But at the same time, I've been able to invite many people into this space and to have conversations and interactions that would not have been possible otherwise. Ryan sits in front of the microphone, and I feel he touches on various points that respond to some of my own new questions about disappearance, questions that have arisen in me during the making of this podcast. Asking someone about their disappearance reminds me of asking the question, what are you thinking about? A very simple question that can be the sweetest question. It can be the most intrusive question, and it can probably range to everything in between. The way this question is perceived can depend on countless factors: the timing, the setting, the people involved, their mood, the specific situation, the surroundings, all of which combine into an unpredictable equation, one we're constantly and often unknowingly navigating our way through. But in the case of this podcast, another perspective is added. This question is recorded and only later listened to, in a totally new setting by an uncontrollable number of different people. A single file that leaves one small secluded room and eventually goes out into the vast digital space, where it floats like the Voyager, attracting alien ears. These interviews, which I described as precious gifts, may for some even be experienced as poisonous. This reminds me of one of the biggest debates in human history. Whether the first gift ever given, an apple, was a corrupting and poisonous act that brought the burden of shame and marked the beginning of moral deterioration, or was it a nurturing symbol of empowerment and human agency? Here is Ryan. Interview number 12.
I think these are this question of being seen or not seen or disappearing it cuts to the core of a lot of things that I've been working with, and it makes me, I don't know if you're asking other people the same questions. Okay, it makes me almost not believe you when you say you're asking other people the same question, because it feels so tied to what I'm thinking about in my life, and especially in my art. Questions of kind of basically hiding and revealing.
I Think I Saw You is a podcast dedicated to exploring our human disappearance. Every episode features an interview with a different person. In this season, I recorded the participants and faculty members of the program Generation J, each of whom reflected on their own thoughts and experiences of disappearance. I think I saw you, Ryan, right when you disappeared.
Yes, there have been some moments when I felt fully seen, perhaps heard. I'm a performer, so while every performance is different, there have definitely been a couple performances where I felt present, and I felt that the audience, saw my presence, and those were very special, memorable moments. But also it's quite scary to be seen, so felt a bit strange afterwards, maybe returning to the world beyond the stage. So I was living in Paris, and I was doing a lot of performances within a quite small scene, a community, definitely. And this was where I began performing. And kind of at the end of this year, I'd had this idea for a while, but I was quite nervous to actually try it. But finally I said, okay, I want to do this. I want to see how it is. Basically, it was like a live drawing class as performance art. And I don't think the idea itself is revolutionary or anything, but in the context of such an intimate community, having done a lot of performances that were very personal and having this feeling of sort of shedding skin and a lot of talking, actually. In this case, I had to just sit there and be seen, quite literally, and let the audience actually do the looking and the drawing. And that was quite interesting for me, yeah. I'm not sure if there's a moment in which I've fully disappeared. That's a good question. It's quite abstract. Is there a moment that I've fully... Something comes to mind as well. But I think I'd rather not talk about it. Yeah, it wasn't a good thing, I would say. I would say that the feeling I associate with the idea of disappearing, and the experience that came to mind, the experience that I have that reminds me of, or makes me think, oh, I disappeared in that moment. I never have articulated it that way, so it kind of cuts somewhere quite deep to have it, to be made to see it that way. It was painful, it was scary, it made me feel very lost and alone. I've tried to discuss what I'm talking about in art, and I've tried to tell other people about it in life. Yeah, I've tried to share that or show that, represent that, and I think that to some extent I've been able to, but I have also found that there are certain limits to empathy or to my own ability to do that as an artist or a person. Sometimes the best that other people can do is listen and accept that maybe they have similar experiences or relatable experiences or free associative experiences, but that they can't really know. Just as there's a lot of moments in other people's lives that I know I'll never fully be able to understand or inhabit or visit, maybe. I think it comes down to agency. I think being seen and being either not seen or kind of disappeared is, both of those things can be good or bad as long as you have some agency, or if you don't have agency, if you're seen when you don't want to be seen and you don't have a choice, and equally if you're not free to hide, whatever that may mean, metaphorically or literally, then that's quite dangerous, maybe literally for some people, and maybe more metaphorically, or maybe dangerous in a pure physical survival sense, or more emotional sense. But at times I think even these two can be intertwined because the mind is part of the body. My name is Ryan. I am from the US, and I'm currently based in Estonia, and I am an artist.
I Think I Saw You is created, produced, recorded, designed, and edited by me, Eyal Davidovitch. Original music was also composed and performed by me. Mixing and additional sound design by the sweet Jan Brett. The podcast is supported by Paideia, the European Institute for Jewish Studies in Sweden. For more information, follow Art and Time Machines on Instagram and subscribe to stay updated wherever you find your podcasts. Just a quick note before you disappear. If you'd like to help this project continue and grow, please consider supporting it at ko-fi.com/I think I saw you.